And thank you for joining me as we take this dive into Command and continue our journey learning about opportunities. We have moved into the transaction phase, our portion of the pipeline. We have just created, we chose our checklist, and we just created the DocuSign Room. Now we're going to dive in and learn a little bit about the DocuSign side. So as I mentioned in the previous video, always use Command as your starting point because Command will never confuse what room is the right room to go to. So you're going to click Go to Transaction. So as I mentioned in the previous video, any of those forms in the checklist that had the green DS automatically preload into your room for you. Any additional documents you're going to find up here under Add. So I'm going to click on Add, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. We're going to click on DocuSign Forms. And now we find our documents. These are the libraries. This is a live living connection to the library. And what you click on over here changes what you see over here. So for example, click on AAR. We are now looking at just the AAR documents. Click on Armless, same thing. Office documents, same thing. If you have access to the White Mountains, same thing. What you're seeing up here under Packets is a shortcut that the Office has created for you to make things just a little bit faster. When you have a residential listing, these are the most frequently used documents. They're not everything you might use, but some of them. And you'll notice that some of them already say in use. These are the ones that DocuSign and Command automatically pulled into that room. But let's say you needed a couple of extra things. Maybe there's an HOA, and maybe you need an addendum. So you're going to click those, and you're going to click Add Selected. Now those files are in here as well. Now, I like to be super organized. So this is how I typically set up my DocuSign room. You do not have to do the same thing, but it is optional. I will come up here to Actions and add a folder. And I will create a folder for consultation documents. I will create a folder for the certifications. And I'll create a folder for under contract. Now, as I complete documents, I can organize them and keep them up to date. The next thing I want to show you is details. So just like with the command side of the opportunities where you want to keep that details page as up to date as possible, you want to do the same thing here. So let me show you what I typically like to keep up to date. I'm going to come over here to details. I'm going to click on edit, and I'm going to set the local currency. I don't worry about this. I've got my addresses in here. That all looks good. Year built, maybe I already know that this was built in, actually this house was built in 1989. No special circumstances. We'll leave the school district as it is. We know we're going to list on, let's say, we're going to list it today. And we set it up for a 6-month listing agreement. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to start at 500,000. We'll leave this for now. Legal description, this is where you're going to pull this in and copy and paste it in from Monsoon. So we'll just say legal description goes here. Voila. We don't have any offers. We haven't gotten to that phase yet. No high bid. None of this other information is needed at the moment. So now we're going to come over here to our people. Seller number 1 is going to be Fred Flintstone. You must have the name in there and must have the email in there. Scroll down a little bit farther, and we have seller 2, name, and email. And then there's other people, listing agent. That would be me in this case. There's no second listing agent. We don't have the buyer information. We don't have the buyer's agent information. We don't have any of that other stuff. So we're going to leave it as it is. Now, one thing to note really quickly before we wrap up this video, DocuSign is one of the few electronic signature services that allows you to use one email address for multiple people. So if you don't have, so Fred and Wilma both used the same email address, that's perfectly okay. You're going to be able to put that in. But for now, we're going to click Save. All right, stay tuned for the next video where we learn how to begin working with our documents.